What's up, YouTube? Coming at you today. We are going to be converting this Dolomite ALX into a 1x10 using the Bucklos crank arm that bolts on to the tapered bottom bracket, a 32 tooth snail chainring, and we're going to be using the microshift Advent X 1x10 conversion. So stick around and I hope you like this episode. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the pedals from the bike. Next, we're going to remove the crank arms.
Using the number 8 Allen key, we remove that center bolt.
You're going to open up the crank arm puller and extend it all the way out as far as it'll go. Thread it into the crank arm. Okay, I had a little bit of a problem getting off this crank arm on the left-hand side. So I grabbed a seat post, which is 31.6 diameter, and I put it over the crank arm puller, and I'm going to use this as leverage to break that. And there you have it. Okay, so these are the Bucklos crank arms. You have your left and right. This is a snail 32 tooth round chainring. These crank arms are 170 millimeters, whereas the ones that come on the Dolomite stock are 175. We're going to take off the front derailleur. The front derailleur uses a number 4 millimeter Allen key. I'm going to use a chain brake to break the chain. There is no quick link on this, so we're just going to break this chain. Number 5 Allen key on the back, on the rear derailleur. That will remove the cable. We just popped off the cable end. And now we're just going to use that number 5 Allen key and remove the rear derailleur. Okay, we got the microshift RDM6205AM. This is a 10-speed derailleur with a clutch. Carefully thread the derailleur back onto the bike. We're going to have to shorten this housing. Okay, the next step, we're going to remove the grips and the brake lever and then the shifter so we can change it. And I'm just going to be injecting some water into the grip so I can take it off because we're going to be reusing these grips. So I just used the sealant applicator and I'm just going to get some water underneath we are going to be using the Avant X SLM 9605R. The shifter comes with a new cable and a cable end. It's got a little rubber pad on the grip, and it actually nice action on this shifter. Alright, the next step is going to be change out the cassette. So we're going to use the cassette removal tool. We're going to put it on that skewer. We're going to tighten down the skewer nut to keep it in place. So we got the adjustable wrench and the chain whip. We're going to lock it down. And break that free. Alright, we're going to be using the microshift CSG104. It's 1148 Avant X 10 speed. So it's 11 by 48 teeth. This is the aluminum version, so it's going to be lighter than the steel version. There's a little notch as opposed to the bigger elongated notches. You line that up with the one that coincides on the free hub body. Like this is on that. Oh.
Yeah.
I bet you they get a lot of people that call. They're like, dude, I'm missing a spacer.
Yeah.
There you go. Alright, we're going to bolt on the crank arms. The next step is we're going to be placing the chain on the bike. The way that I measure the chain to make sure it's the correct length is you place the chain on the big chain ring in the back, and the chainring in the front. If you had a multi-gear bike with other chainrings in the front, you'd go to the largest one, and you're going to make sure that you have 2 links that pass over. So we're going to be using this entire chain on this bike. Once you've established the size, you're going to cut it. We didn't have to cut this one. And then we're going to run this through the jockey wheel, through the cage of the derailleur. So we converted the Dolomite ALX over to a 1x10 using the Advent X microshift. Taking off the crank arms on this bike were a little bit of a pain. I did have one person ask me, I guess they had a problem with it as well. I used the seat tube, slid it over the tool, and used that as leverage. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And hit that like and subscribe button, and I hope you guys like this video, and always stay safe.